Awesome. Well, welcome everyone who watches this. Like, we've already been praying for you to receive this conversation. So I'm really excited to have Kristian here and get to, just let her share her story. Her words are so inspirational, and we just want to come together and just be able to share our perspective on these different modalities that are supporting us and that we get to use with our friends, our families, our clients, and really how it's honestly so much more than that. This is just a very basic way. You guys will get to hear what we're talking about, but I'm really excited to have this conversation today and just open up some bigger truths and some bigger perspectives that the world really needs right now. So just thank you so much for being on with me today. I'm really excited for this conversation. I've been looking forward to this for like 2 weeks, been on my calendar. So just so happy you're here.
Oh, thank you so much, Grace. I love that we're able to come together and have these kinds of like leading edge conversations that embody so much of what we're passionate about and who we are, which is what I'm learning about you and you're learning about me. Like this is, really who we are. And now we get to share at like an even deeper level with folks. So I'll dive in wherever you want to go. Like, where should we start
I
this?
know, where do we start? Well, you know what's interesting? I think it is kind of cool that we get to we should say that how we kind of grew up and like where we kind of started, because this is honestly like a faith and a belief journey as well as like a healing journey, and like healing our bodies, healing our spirits, healing our souls. So many things are integrated. And I think that, what Purium and what this lifestyle like does is it integrates all facets. So I'm just really curious, like we grew up very similar in a religious like environment, but tell me a little bit more like your first, experiences with faith and what that looked like for you.
Yeah, so I grew up very poor in a Christian fundamentalist cult-ish sect called the Jehovah's Witnesses. So I was born into that. My mom and dad were both in that religion. Their parents were in that religion. So it was very like in the family lineage. So I grew up with a deep commitment to God and to faith. But as I got older, I started noticing distortions, within the belief systems. And I began to notice that the more I just spent time in nature and in reading the Bible or being reflective, that I actually felt more connected to God than when I was doing all the meetings and going door to door. I mean, we did all the things, and I began to feel that my deeper connection was not happening within the church, but outside of it. And that was, really a revelation for me. And it took me some time to work with it. But I left the religion when I was 24. And I left the religion because ultimately I could not participate in the belief that those who were in same-sex relationships, were going to be punished by God. I could not get behind the belief that only the religious sect I was in would be saved. It didn't feel right to me. I was meeting amazing humans all over the place. And I was like, I don't buy that. But the desire for the spiritual connection was there, even though I really sort of shut it down after I left. In terms of my prayer and meditation time, I started opening back up and going to different churches, and I started studying Buddhism and Hinduism, and and the Kabbalah and Judaism. And I just wanted to know, like, where is divine truth? Where does divine truth live? It was this thing that even though I would try to like push it down because I was in my 20s, I was young, it still kept wanting to bubble up. And in 2008, at the age of 30, I had what I call my first spiritual awakening. And that came through a health crisis. So this is really where we see that our spirituality and our health are so deeply connected, because our bodies are the most advanced technology that we have. And we are spirit. We're in a human avatar, but we are spirit. So once I had that health crisis, it caused me and it forced me to go to alternative forms of medicine and to look outside of the Western structures for my health and healing. And that is where my awakening happened. And really, I've never been the same since 2008. I've been meditating every day and really gave up looking for the expression of God, goddess, and the divine in churches, and really realized it was through my own body temple and through nature. So that's a little snapshot.
Wow. Oh my gosh. We have so many similarities. It's really wild. And that's like, it's just so beautiful how things like unfold. And similar to you, I had that same searching and longing, even though I was like in a church and I really wanted to believe, what they were telling me. There was that internal spirit that was always, the divine spirit that was really, guiding me, even from childhood. And like how you said you were searching, I had friends all around me who they were Muslim, they were Jewish, they practiced different beliefs. And what I observed even as a kid, I was like, wow, they really believe their book, and they really believe the person that wrote their book. So why is my God better like than theirs? Like that's like I was like, there's something not quite right with that, even as a child. And so I think like you're so right, the nature and coming home to ourselves through whatever awakening experience happens. A lot of times it is health, or it is like a crisis, and I think that it's a it's one way to come back home to yourself after you kind of realize you've drifted so far. But what we have here now is like honestly such an amazing invitation that we can like come home to ourselves every single day by nurturing our bodies, by taking care of our bodies. And what a spiritual act that is. It really does feel like a very beautiful, almost like ceremony every time that I, you like drink my juice. Like it sounds kind of silly, but I have this whole like moment like where I'm like, wow, God, like this is all pure fruits and vegetables, and it's like nature's like breast milk like that you created for me, and it's like so divine. It really is so divine. So I'm really curious, once you shifted the health stuff and went through that process, what started to awaken in you, and how did your life change after you started making those shifts?
Well, I'm a pretty intense, passionate human. And so for me, it's going to take a pretty intense, passionate experience for me to change, right? So I went to Brazil. So I was very sick, couldn't get better. I went to Brazil and I had what is called a psychic surgery to heal my womb because I had a tumor and there's all these things happening. So I had a psychic surgery in Brazil in the middle of the Amazon in this tiny little town, and I pretty much almost died. So I woke up from the surgery and thought like, this is it. I've never felt anything like that before. It was like all my life force energy was gone. It's over. And I'm like, I cannot die on a twin bed in the middle of nowhere, Brazil. Like this can't be what's happening. So in that moment, I began to pray. And I had not really been praying since I had left the religion 6 years prior. I was, researching all these religions and trying to figure it out. But I was like, I don't know about you, God. I don't know. And so in that moment though, what's going to get you to awaken, right? I think I'm going to die. I'm like, all right. And I made a deal. I said, listen, I'll do whatever you want me to do. I will be whoever you want me to be. I will devote my life to you. Just don't let me die here on this twin bed. Just for God's sakes, don't let me do it. I'm not kidding you. I just kept uttering that prayer. And I made it through that. Obviously, I'm here. I made it through that. But at that moment, I dedicated my life to the divine. That was it. And I can see in retrospect, it had to go like that because I wasn't getting there otherwise. I was searching and I'm looking at things and I'm trying to figure it out, but I needed something to really shift me onto my path. And from that moment forward, healing energy started coming out of my hands. My intuition just went through the roof. I just would meet someone and know things. And, over the past 13 years, all of these different spiritual gifts have come in over time so that I can help support others in healing and awakening and being who they really are. What was shocking to me about all of this, Grace, and you've heard me talk about this a little bit, is that I I studied nutrition. I was eating metaphysically. I was eating clean. I was doing cleanses every so often and eating soup, the superfoods that we're told about. So I was like, I'm good. I'm healthy. I'm good. But there was just a piece missing that I could feel. And that piece for me, it may be different for everyone, but for me was that as I became more and more spiritually attuned, I could not eat animals. I just couldn't do, it was just like, I cannot. And I'm an O positive blood type, and everything medically would tell you that means I need to eat a lot of animal flesh, which I did for the majority of my life. But as I became more and more of who I really am and became more and more light, that's the thing, as we're becoming more and more light, I just could not do it. So I began to pray, like, please bring me a way that I can be without this animal flesh and have my body be healthy and strong. And literally that is when Purium came into my life.
You prayed and it came.
And this is true for everyone. Yes. But
it's true.
When you're devoted to the divine, it happens real fast for us, like real fast.
Yes. But you know what? You saw it and you resonated with that and you said yes to it, which is like good for you, because it actually took me like a year. It took me a year from when I met our friend Allison to when I finally said yes, because similar to you, like I had been vegetarian and then I went plant-based, and it really also for me, I'm like, you know what, like I can't receive that energy like into my body. I think people don't want to think about it like that, but once you start to open up the channels of faith, or just belief, like, in something greater, and you start to feel how things are connected and stuff like that, the energy of those animals, of just their suffering, I was like, one, I don't want to receive that into my body while I'm trying to heal and recover, from the religious stuff and all other, life stuff. And also, like, I'm not going to be a part of that, like, I'm not going to be a part of that industry, like being a thing anymore. I'm going to like take my power back and like have a say. I'm going to like vote with that. And even though I felt much better with my different autoimmune and things like that, like you said too, there was just something that was like missing, and come to find it really was like the gut health like aspect, plus the the quality of the nutrition that just like is not possible, like in this world that we live in, no matter like how hard you try, so I'm just so grateful that we found this system that is just so pure, like purity. And even how you said, as the light, comes into your body, because just by how like eating plants, like they're filled with light, and you start to be filled with light, and that's when you start to awaken these other senses, so so after Purium came into your world and you said yes, did you start with a cleanse? How did you start with Purium?
Yeah, I started with the 30-day, the ULT, the Ultimate Lifestyle Transformation. And for me, I had been eating clean for a really long time and had been vegan and raw and all of that. But what would happen for me is I would get really sick. So I was missing those essential aminos. So it'd be about 6 months and I would get really, really sick. So my prayer was, I want to be able to honor that because what happens is you become more and more filled with light. You have so much love and compassion, you cannot imagine killing an animal and eating it. You can't do it. So I was like, I cannot do this anymore. Please bring me the way that I can eat in this more clear way, and also my body stay vital and alive. I was missing those essential aminos. Even though I was trying these different superfoods and all these different things, it was not enough. It was not working. And the missing piece is the consciousness. So whoever's creating the superfoods, whoever is creating those powders or whatever it is, it's the consciousness of those individuals that determines whether it is going to light up your cells or if it's just going to be another thing that is blocking your radiance. And so the piece with Purium is that the consciousness of which it was created is the purity, and that's what allows it to enliven the cells and not weigh the cells down. So maybe folks know this or maybe they don't, but Allison shared this with me, our mutual friend Allison shared this with me. And when she did, I knew it was why I'd been called to Purium, because the founder of Purium received a spiritual download to create. This is his mission, to support this new era in consciousness. So of course, it's totally different than any other superfoods you're getting anywhere else, because it is spiritually backed by source. So like, I mean, I'm in, right? Like I'm not saying no to that. So the aminos really saved my life in terms of, needing those essential aminos to be able to not eat animal flesh and still have my body thrive, even though my body was, ancestrally or primally programmed to believe that it needed that meat. But as we become who we really are, no, our cells don't need that at all. That's old programming. Mm-hmm. So it's the consciousness of Purium that makes it different than anything else. Mm-hmm. And that's what changed the game for me. So I did the 30-day ULT and felt my cells just come online in a way that I had never felt before. And I was like, I am here for this. I'm 100% in for this. Let's do it. And I've been going strong ever since.
Oh my gosh. You know what? I just kept hearing the word love while you were speaking. It's made in love. It's made of love and out of love. And these days, so many companies, you really don't know who's running the company, or honestly, so many companies, they all trickle back to 10 people at the top, and they're not very good people. So I don't trust those systems whatsoever. And again, I don't believe in them. I don't believe in those systems. So to have a system that I believe in and was truly made in love, because, the founders, have a very deep personal mission, and you can genuinely feel that, even if you didn't care about organic labels or vegan labels or kosher labels or anything like that, or fair trade, these are all very important to me. But even if you don't care about that, you would feel simply the love and the truth of it, of how it's blended together, so it's ancient wisdom combined with modern science, like ethical science. And that is what is so amazing. And so, you're speaking to the aminos, which the aminos, change everyone's life who has them, the pure protein that your body is able to just absorb immediately, and how you're able to truly build muscle and build endurance and just receive that energy in such a different way than just eating, flesh, like you said, so I know for me, and I know you've had this too, so I'd like to go into this a little bit, but the awakening that I had once I started integrating Purium into my lifestyle, and having those 2 juices a day, and having the gut support that was getting rid of the toxins, and all as all that was shedding, and then I was just fueling my cells with light, I started to have this awakening happen, which I'd already had some awakenings in my life. So I'm like, wow, let's go. All right, we're going all the way in now. And it's just been such an amazing experience ever since. But just I just feel like all of my different energy centers have just completely heightened, and there will be new products that I try, and it's just boom, okay, I felt the literal awakening. And I'm so happy that I get to channel this now, and be able to share this with people, and receive it for myself, just have those deeper levels of healing, not only physically. And I've been able to reverse multiple autoimmune conditions with this. I've been able to reverse migraines, insomnia, cystic acne, just these things that made me so insecure, that were so chronic, that I literally was like, you know what, I'm going to suffer my whole life. And I had this epiphany. I'm just going to suffer my whole life because doctors can't tell me anything. I'm doing all the natural remedies that I can, and nothing is adding up. I'm just gonna be chronically ill, until this came into my life. And now, I'm a year and some months later, and I don't have any of those conditions like anymore. And now it's just about continuing to do, honestly, the deeper emotional healing that starts to happen when your body is safe and your nervous system is like safe and your adrenals, everything is like all like reset and aligned. You're like, okay, now like we can really go into the deeper things. So I'm curious like what your journey has been like with just tapping into even more power, the deeper healing, all the woo woo.
I love it. I love it. Well, when I first started taking Purium, I didn't have any intention of like, I'm going to share this with anyone. It was just like, I am looking for the solution for my physical body to be able to be vegan-ish and not have to deal with my body like collapsing into chronic pain or illness because it's not getting the aminos, the essential aminos that it needs and the essential minerals that it needs. So that's where I started from. But then when I had the experience of the 30-day, I was like, I have to tell my community about this. This is incredible. I had no idea. And then it started being revealed to me over the course of this time. It's been about 9 months. It started being revealed to me that like what's really happening. And what's really happening is that humans have been poisoned, you know, at every level that they can be poisoned at. So glyphosate is a big thing that we're talking about in Purium too, because it's like in all the food. But we're talking about people are being poisoned in their water and their food and with the EMFs, like in every direction. You know, this earth plane is a true obstacle course, choose your own adventure experience. So we gotta up our game, right? If we want to have a deeply satisfying, fulfilling experience in this life, we have to zig where they zag. And the thing is that your humans are being poisoned through their food supply. So you've got to awaken to a greater state. And that's really what that my journey with Purium has shown me is like, oh, this poisoning is happening. And this is why many of the folks that I've worked with over the past 13 years have very good intentions, but they're not able to break the cycles that are keeping them in abusive cycles, whether it's in relationship or with food or in their work or living in scarcity or, you know, the time of consciousness that we're in now. Humans are facing deep initiations. Are you going to choose the divine or are you going to give into the fear of the world? Like that is the question. What are you going to choose? Are you going to choose your advanced technology of this amazing body that you have? Or are you going to choose the fear of man? Like that's where we're at. So, you know, Purium could not have come into my life at a better time because it not only supported my DNA and going to the next level of light, because I intend to have all 12 strands online and to live my highest radiance in this life, but then I'm also able to share it with my community and watching folks who are stuck get unstuck because they're taking in the superfoods and the pure consciousness that Purium is. Like, what? You know, so now it shifts. I was doing healing sessions for years on people, but as you shared, and as I'm learning, people are healing themselves of all kinds of illnesses from Purium, which means that your advanced technology of your body is so intelligent that if you will clear the poison and flood the body with superfoods, it will self-heal, no matter what it is, right? And that is it. So I'm in, you know, it's just like I was in for me. Now I'm in for, because we cannot continue to create dependency with healing sessions and healers. We need to empower folks to self-heal. And then when you have a healing session with a healer like yourself or myself, now you're quantum leaping because we're not putting out the fires of the poisoning that the humans are dealing with every day. They're already self-healing with the Purium. So it is a self-healing system, you know, that folks can be empowered with. And I'm watching the folks that I just led a cleanse back in June, and folks were healing of cystic acne and depression and insomnia and skin, you know, folks are having all, you know, the skin, if the body cannot release the toxins through bowel movement and tears, it's going to go to the skin. That's the next place. So humans have all kinds of weird skin things happening that nobody really knows what they are. And they go to, hopefully they don't do this, but God forbid they go to a Western medicine doctor. They just give them a bunch of, you know, steroids and creams to put on it with more poison, which just creates more poisoning of the system, right? It's that cycle that they're stuck in. So folks were having all this clearing up of their skin. We had pain-free menstrual cycles, like all kinds of amazing things were healing because of the core 4 and doing the cleanse. So I'm just like, now, without exception, when I'm talking to anyone who wants to work with me, it's like, okay, you got to do Purium. Like, that's the first step. You can't just be like, oh, some healer's going to heal me. You got to clean up what's happening inside of you. And that was the gap for clients that were not ascending that I was working with. They needed Purium. And so that's been my evolution with it. The awakening process will continue until we leave these bodies. I learn new things. As spirit shows me new things every single day. I'm astounded by. It's incredible. So we're going to keep awakening. And with Purium and with these healing tools that we have, you're just going to have a less bumpy ride. I mean, that's the deal. You're just going to have a more fulfilling, more satisfying life experience. And you're not going to give into fear. And you're going to make the most aligned choices when your choice points show up. And when you go through your initiations and when the negative agenda comes to you, you're going to be able to show up in a way that really honors your soul and creates a legacy for your lineage. That's what I'm here for. So that's what we're doing.
Wow. I mean, it is literally like my why, my mission in this world is to empower people that they can heal themselves. And you said it exactly, that this is literally the path. This is like, you guys, this is the simplest, easiest
Seriously.
path. You know, we don't have to suffer. We really don't. And actually, a lot of our suffering, like you said, is caused by the world, by, you know, the different intimidation tactics. And also just, we are completely unconscious to the level of poisoning that is happening. And you know what, you guys, it's no one's fault. It's not like it's not like anyone's wrong, you know, except some people are wrong, obviously. The negative agenda is definitely wrong. But this is just the easiest way that we can take our power back. That's the bottom line, is like, we all have a choice that we can take our power back. And this is like, it may not make sense in some ways, but this is how you do it. This is how you do it. You take your power back, you take your health back, you take your vote back, your dollar back, all these things, and you're able to do it in this way and in this community. And you know, it's so true that we create this dependency on you know, healers or retreats or just different experiences. And like me too, you know, I always like needed that external thing to like give me, you know, the energy or give me the epiphany or whatever. But once I started to just really tap into that divinity in me, that God spot like in me that's like always connected and always like receiving the power, receiving the hope and the wisdom, and then, you know, however I'm meant to channel that for others, you know, is like a beautiful blessing. But knowing that everyone has that same potential, they have that same gift to receive to themselves. And that's why like I will never stop sharing about this, because you know, this is our chance. This is really our chance. We're in such a divine time in creation. And like I really do think about, you know, one day they're gonna like write about this time like in the books, you know, and like what am I gonna say that I did during this time? You know, did I give into the fear? You know, like no. I mean, like maybe subtly I get like, whoa, okay, that's a new one. Okay, wow, they're really coming out with a lot of stuff these days, you know, and I'm like, that's special. But you know, thankfully we have these tools and these modalities, and we have this beautiful community. You know, the community itself is such an amazing support system. And the community itself is medicine as well. So I know you've fallen so in love with the community, and you kind of feel like it's your tribe. You know, how's your experience been with even just the community aside from Purium and the products?
Yeah, it's so amazing, because at the same time I was praying about this piece for my health, I was asking, you know, where's my light family? Like I really, you know, I serve a lot of humans and I love it. And where's my light family? Because one of the things that happens as you become more and more light and more of who you really are is that everything that is not a vibrational match to that falls away. So there's a lot of shedding that happens. And certainly with last year's nonsense and really the kick up of the new era in consciousness, you got to see where people I'd known for decades, we're just not a vibrational match because I'm going in a totally different direction than they're going in. So I was really asking, where is my light family? And I am just so filled with joy because I met so many amazing healers and incredible beings of light through Purium, and people humans I feel a very deep connection with at a soul level. And there's just this deep love and respect that's there. And I love just thinking about whatever conversation we had before we incarnated, being like, okay, so we're going to meet up under Purium. Dave Sandoval is going to get this download. He's going to create this incredible transformation company of the highest vibration and highest consciousness superfoods, and you're going to need it because you are not getting through 2020, 2021, and what's to come in the years that are coming for us. We're not going to get through it without that, and let's all meet up there. And I love that we did that, and then we had that conversation because it's just been so much fun and such a surprise. Because again, I was just like, I'm looking for a solution to what I'm dealing with at the next level, and I didn't anticipate that I would be sharing it with anyone, or that I would, meet some of the greatest, beings of light that I've yet to meet. So it's like all around the gift that keeps on giving. And I feel like it is a spiritual call, and it's a spiritual mission for those of us that are spiritually attuned. And you could get someone who's totally in the densest frequency and put them on the ULT and get them on the core 4, and they're going to start having spiritual awakenings, and they're going to start becoming who they really are, because that's what pure consciousness will do, because that's who we really are. Because we are advanced technology. So if you clear the poison and flood the body with superfoods, you're going to awaken to your higher states of consciousness. So obviously Source, giving Dave that download, knew that. So you get people, either those of us who are already, on an awakening journey, it's going to take us higher and higher. You could take someone who's not even yet awakened, who just wants to, like, let's say on a basic level, wants to lose weight. Okay, fine. If that's your in, like I wasn't coming in for that. Most of the folks that are working with me are not coming in for that. But yeah, bonus, your physical body looks amazing too. But they could start there, and they'll have an awakening.
I've seen it. And also it's funny because I've seen it just play out in all different ways where it's just very unexpected for people. I had someone who really wanted to lower their cholesterol. So I shared with them some products, and then now they're like, you know what? Like, I'm going to be vegan. Like, they just like hit them. They're like, you know what? I don't know why. It just, I'm just naturally drawn to being vegan all of a sudden. Like, and I'm just like, oh, it's funny how that happens.
Yeah. When you align with who you really are, that's what happens. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I mean, there's just, it truly is like this blessing that it just gets better and better and better. And what I love is that it really does tie into like whatever your calling is, like this is the vehicle that allows you to get there and to just bring other people along. It's all of our vehicle to not only heal ourselves and empower ourselves, but to shine, just like you said, to be our best selves. And when we are in that place, like it just creates so much abundance and love, and it just spills over to your community and also, financially, even like the business is a beautiful blessing as well. Maybe it's not for everyone, but it certainly could be, because you just start to attract the abundance. It just starts to want you because you are a pure vessel, like using that like well. And the Purium economy of just like supporting like farmers, supporting organic soil, supporting families, it's actually like just creating its own like economy. And it's, the Purium economy is green, it's booming, it's for everyone. And yeah, I just hope that this conversation like resonates with so many people, and just know that this is your invitation, this is your sign. And maybe you weren't looking for a sign today, but here it is. Like, come and join us. You know, it's nice over here.
We're having a blast and we feel really good and we're radiating light everywhere we go and we're fulfilling our missions, our divine missions. Like absolutely. The whole piece, we didn't even get to the, you know, organic farms and the family run farms. And this is farm to table and it is of the highest frequency and the highest consciousness. I mean, you can't make this up. We are creating the new economy because the old economy is built on corruption and lies and manipulation of humans. So, you know, we are here to create the new economy, and this is yet another way to do it. And I didn't start out, you know, knowing that or thinking that or even having that in my construct for Purium. I just wanted the health, but health is wealth. So what happens is you begin to radiate at a higher frequency. Abundance is going to come to you from all directions. And you may feel the same way that Grace and I did, which is we can't stop telling people about it because we're so like, this is incredible. And the people are incredible and the consciousness is incredible. Join us. So yes, I'm so excited for all those that are touched by this conversation and have a remembering, you know, because our amnesia is wearing off more and more and we're becoming more and more of who we really are. And Purium is a powerful and so needed tool of support during these next, I mean, it could be the next decade. We'll see how this plays out, but for quite some time, we're going to be needing this support. So I'm so grateful we found it. And Grace, I'm so grateful that the divine brought us together as well.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your heart and just, I know you you have so many epiphanies. We all do. Like we could just go on and on. So maybe we'll have a part 2 sometime, but thank you for everyone who's made it this far in the conversation. We love you so much. And you can find us on social media. I'll definitely link everything down below so you can find us and both of our websites. So you can just follow us and, you know, be able to come see us if you want. Let's talk more about this stuff. So we love you all. We'll talk to you all so soon. Bye.